I guess you love movies. I do too. Hi guys, and welcome back to another classic movie review. Today we're going to be talking about a movie directed by an underrated director from the classic Hollywood period, and that's Nicholas Ray. He directed such classics as Rebel Without a Cause with James Dean, but also Johnny Guitar and They Live by Night. And today I'm going to be reviewing his classic noir film starring Humphrey Bogart and Gloria Graham, and that is In a Lonely Place, which I have the Criterion Blu-ray of right here. The movie follows the story of a volatile screenwriter named Dick Steele, played by Humphrey Bogart. One night, he asked a Czech girl home with him to to tell him the story of a book that he's supposed to be adapting. But the morning after this, she turns up dead, and because of his volatile past, Dix is brought in for questioning. But when his neighbour, who is infatuated with him, clears him in terms of what she saw, they begin to fall in love. But Dix's volatile and violent nature begins to bubble more and more to the surface. So what did I think of In a Lonely Place? Well, I have this movie on Blu-ray, and this is actually the third time I've seen this film. It isn't the first, and I love this movie. But I hadn't actually reviewed it on my channel, so I thought this was a perfect opportunity, as I rewatched it last night, to come on to the classic movie review segment and talk about why I love In a Lonely Place. The main reason that this movie works, and this is quite a simple story in terms of, it's pretty much him trying to prove his innocence and a love story, but what makes this movie so great is its script. This movie is absolutely brilliantly written, and this is what I love about noir films, how they play with the dialogue. There's such clever moments of dialogue in this film. So many amazing quotable lines, like when the detective that Dix knows from the war, he sent the girl out to the taxi rank without calling the taxi himself, and he says to him, wouldn't that have been the gentlemanly thing to do? And he says, I never said I was a gentleman, I just said that I was tired. And lines like that throughout this movie just make the dialogue sequences so interesting, because just banal talking could be so uninteresting in a lot of other movies, and sort of reminiscent of Tarantino maybe nowadays. Nicholas Ray's movie In a Lonely Place is so incredibly audible, it's so brilliant to listen to, and no actor, alive or dead, could do this dialogue any more service than Humphrey Bogart, because he chews every single line of dialogue in this movie. He is absolutely extraordinary in it. It's one of his best performances for sure, and I cannot recommend this movie enough, simply for Bogart saying these lines of dialogue, because it's some of the most entertaining noir you're ever going to watch. Just Bogart in a room with anybody else and chewing lines of dialogue in every single scene. Gloria Graham is also excellent in this movie. She has the most expressive eyebrow I think I've ever seen in movie history. She's phenomenal, glamorous in every scene and every shot. Her and Bogart's chemistry is palpable in this movie. Very similarly to Lauren Bacall, of course, who is his wife in real life, and Ingrid Bergman. She's equally fantastic and equally brilliant with Bogart on screen. She has some excellent lines of dialogue that she chews as well. There's this brilliant line where he goes, are you going to have dinner with me tonight? And she goes, we'll both have dinner, put it all together. And it's just an absolutely brilliant line, brilliant delivery of it, and brilliant performances by these actors. But what this movie really is, and a lot of noir movies are more style of a substance, they're more about the shadows and the lighting and the different contrasts than they are really about the characters. But this movie is about character. This is a character study. This is about the volatile nature of Dix and how destructive it is to his life, to his work and to his friends, but also, of course, to his more romantic relationships. It's cited in the movie that he did beat up one of his former girlfriends. And there was a lot of instances during his time in the war and afterwards as a screenwriter where he got into a lot of bar brawls, and there are several examples of this throughout this movie. He has the shortest fuse you can possibly imagine, and it doesn't take much to set him off. And as the movie goes along, Gloria Graham's character begins to see this volatile nature in him and how short the fuse really is. And when they get into an argument one night, he speeds off down the highway at absurd speed and erratically drives and almost has an accident with a guy before getting out of the car and almost beating him to death. And it's only her that stops him at the last minute from cracking his head open with a rock. And at this moment she realises the volatile nature of this man and how almost nothing in these moments can stop him, and that he is capable of murder. As the film goes along, it becomes more and more apparent that this part of him is just a part of him like anything else, and there's no way she can stop it. And as the movie goes along, she begins to realise that maybe there's nothing that she can do, and there's nothing that she can do to change him, and that he is innately violent, and she doesn't know whether he killed this girl, but he's capable of it. It doesn't matter whether he did or he didn't, but at one moment, one time, if she wasn't there to stop him, he's capable of murder, and she can't live like that, live in fear of this man. Even though she loves him and he loves her, he is incapable of controlling his anger, controlling his volatile nature. And this is something that Nicholas Ray does brilliantly in his other movies, specifically Rebel Without a Cause. That feeling of teen angst, that feeling of that aggression inside that he can't control, that's eating him up inside. And that's similarly to this film in terms of Dix's anger issues. And even in movies like Johnny Guitar as well, these are much more character-driven films in narrative setting. Johnny Guitar being a western, obviously Rebel Without a Cause is a drama, sort of coming-of-age film, and this movie, a noir. Nicholas Ray really concentrates on the details of character and the intensities of their obsessions and their flaws. And In a Lonely Place is a simple movie, a simple plot, a simple canvas to paint what is a beautiful, brilliant, raw, emotional film with brilliant dialogue, great performances. And even with its simplicity, it has so much complexity under the surface. I love In a Lonely Place. It's a brilliant film. It's probably my favourite Nicholas Ray movie that I've currently seen. Rebel Without a Cause is also excellent. I definitely recommend this movie if you haven't seen it already. And definitely check out the rest of Ray's filmography. They Live by Night I've yet to see, but I'm definitely looking forward to watching it. And I'm going to give In a Lonely Place 9.5 out of 10. So there you go, that's my classic movie review of In a Lonely Place. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. As I said, Criterion Blu-ray, very beautiful, very crisp to watch, so definitely pick that up if you've either seen the movie or if you're pretty confident that you're going to like the movie. Maybe if you're a Bogart fan, you wanted to get that movie for the completionist in you. But hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Goodbye.